Namaste yogis, it's Cam. I'm back with our posture of the month again, and December's posture of the month here at Flex Hot Yoga is Bakasana, or crow pose. So a couple of things you're going to need to be able to do well if you want to get crow going on. You're going to want to have good wrist and finger control, and you're going to want to be able to activate the push through your serratus anterior. So to do that, a couple of really useful drills, just your finger push-ups, so coming up onto the base knuckles and then back down. So that's a nice little drill there. You could progress up onto the fingertips and just getting a nice strong forearm if you're not already doing some weights or some wrist strengthening exercises. The next one you want to be able to do and get really familiar with is your serratus push-ups. So the hands coming out, pointing away from the middle of the mat on your hands and knees, and the shoulder blades kissing as you're coming down, the arms staying straight, and then pressing the floor away and doming the back. Imagine the back was like a chocolate souffle, and you're pop-topping it up to sky. So you're getting the middle of the back to pop. So you might progress that onto the knees, or you might progress that up onto a full plank. So you've got a few different loads there. So there's some really good drills to get you control that you need. Couple of main concerns when doing crow pose. You're worried about going forward. So a good modification to get you feeling secure is to use a block for this. So our posture for crow pose is we're going to take the knees onto the back of the triceps, as high up into the triceps as you can. That might be slightly painful or quite difficult for people that don't have the core strength to be able to bring the knees, but that's where we're aiming. Try not to let the knees slip off to the side because then you don't have the strength to press out. It becomes all about brute force rather than skeletal stack. So to get into crow pose using the block as our first option, you're going to come into a forward fold. You're going to bend forward, spread the fingers wide, press the fingertips into the floor, claw the floor like a tiger. So the fingers are nice and strong. You've got a good strong hasta bandha. Coming up onto the tippy toes, place the knees right up into the back of the triceps there, and then leaning forward and placing the block onto the forehead. Now from there, squeeze the knees towards the midline, and you might start taking one foot up. You might take both feet up and tap the toes. So that's to help you if you have the fear of falling forward. If you're struggling getting the core strength to get the knees high enough, using two blocks behind you as an alternative. So if you do have the wrist strength and you just want to try this as an alteration, having a stack of blocks behind you. So starting here, knees onto the triceps, and then taking your toes up onto the blocks. So once you're there, squeeze the knees towards the midline, and just experiment, taking one foot off at a time, heel to the buttocks, and taking it down. Main thing you want to be doing with the arms is pressing through and hugging towards the center line and souffling the back, rounding out the back, pressing through the floor like that. So the more squeeze you've got there, the more you're using your core, and then squeezing the knees, recruiting your adductor magnus, and there's your crow. So for those of you guys that are getting a little bit more advanced with your crow posture and holding it for, say, 30 to 60 seconds is feeling quite good. A couple of advanced options for you. One of the options is your jump back. So from your crow position, squeezing the knees in and then floating back to low plank. And from there, coming through your vinyasa. Next option is a three-legged crow. So you're taking one knee off at a time and extending the leg back. So getting your flying crow and taking the knee back onto the tricep and swapping sides. So that's your next option. And the third one would be to progress into headstand. This is only good if you've got the control through the wrists to be able to get your tripod, and if your tripod's really strong. And from there, progressing back to your crow, and then coming through your flow that way. So a couple of things to play with. Hope we see you on the mat soon.